Hello and welcome to Gabe in the Kitchen. Today we're going to be making a lovely pina colada cake. First we're going to make our beautiful pineapple decorations. I have got here a beautifully peeled pineapple.
Well, that plate is beautiful.
That plate is beautiful. Thinly slice a few slices like so. You want about half a large pineapple. And then we're going to carefully place them on I guess a baking tray that has a bit of a gap underneath just to allow the air to flow out and the moisture to come out of these pineapples. What we're going to do is put it in the oven at 90 degrees Celsius for 2 hours. So now I'm just going to core the remaining pineapple. We need about 600 grams of this, and that's going to make our jam. So you want to core it. It's optional if you want to core it. If you don't want to core it, that's fine. But I would highly recommend you core it. And then dice. So the easiest way to core a pineapple is to cut it into quarters, and then just take off the core like so. Into quarters, take off the core. So now I'm just gonna weigh out 600 grams of this.
Yay!
Bang on. So 600 grams into a saucepan, and we're gonna need 250 grams of water, straight in there. Add 420 grams of caster sugar. Yeah, you need this caster sugar, trust me. This pineapple.
All over the table again.
Get that on a medium-low heat, and then we're gonna get the juice of one whole lime squeezed right in there. We'll leave that to get to a boil, and then we'll simmer it for 45 to 1 hour. Occasionally you'll have to come back and give it a whirl, give it a stir, just to make sure it doesn't stick or burn. And in case you're wondering, this is a pineapple jam that we're going to use to pipe onto our cake. This is what we're looking for. Nice golden syrup. Oh yeah. Just take this off the heat and let it cool. So now I'm just gonna strain all of that beautiful syrup. Should probably get a bigger strainer than this. My wife said this was a good idea. Put this back in there, and then we'll let it cool even further. This here is gonna be to soak our sponge, and then this we're gonna blend ever so slightly till we get a nice jam. It's nearly been 2 hours. This is what you're looking for. Now at this point where it's still a bit malleable, just gonna put them into cupcake tins, and the idea here is we want to shape it into a nice shape. I don't know what shape. Like a flower. So for some of the smaller ones, I'm just gonna squeeze 2 into the same pot, and that should better help it keep a shape. I'm just gonna put it back in for about 10 to 30 minutes. We're gonna make our jam. All the pineapple that we had left over, just grab yourself a mini food processor, and then, oh whoops, don't want to lose precious pineapple. I'm gonna pick that up. It's a good thing the table is clean, huh? Sugar, and then we're just gonna pour a little bit of this in there just to get it going. Now you don't want to overbeat this, otherwise it will lose this lovely gloss and shine, and this deep color will get all pale. And that's what we're looking for, a nice glossy deep color. I'm happy with that. Now we're gonna make our lovely coconut sponge. Let's move this stuff out the way. So all we're gonna need is softened butter, and I mean softened butter. If your butter is straight out of the fridge, just pop it in the microwave for a few seconds at a time, giving it a stir till it's softened. And we need 330 grams of unsalted softened butter straight in there. To do that, I'm just gonna add 135 grams of vegetable oil. You can use neutral oil you wish. If you've got rapeseed oil, you can use that one. If you've got sunflower oil, you can use that. As long as it's a neutral oil, you should be fine. I'm just gonna add 500 grams of caster sugar. Caster sugar is very important because it dissolves a lot easier than granulated sugar. So make sure you get caster sugar. Then, just gonna beat that on medium high till it's nice and fluffy. It should take about 5 minutes. Beating away, we're gonna need 8 eggs in this recipe. Yep, 8 whole eggs. So I'm just gonna crack them into our bowl. So now, I'm just gonna give that a stop. This is what you're looking for, extremely fluffy, white, pale.
Like in the round.
Yeah. Now we're gonna add our eggs 2 at a time. Them about 30 seconds between each couple. 2. So I'm just gonna add a pinch of salt to our flour, nothing too much. And then we're gonna sift this. This is 400 grams of self-raising flour. Sift that into a bowl. To that, I'm gonna add 100 grams of desiccated coconut flakes, not flakes, desiccated coconuts to our mix. And then stir. Whoa. You want to do this slowly. You want to fold this in. You don't want to mix it in. So make sure it's on a very low heat speed. That we're going to use 6 tablespoons of coconut cream. You can find this in the supermarket. It is not the same as coconut milk. Please get coconut cream. Usually comes in a carton, not a can, and it's usually just the cream with most of the water removed. So we want 6 of these in there. And then we want half a teaspoon of vanilla extract in there. Lowest speed that we can until it's all incorporated. So at this point, I should have mentioned, make sure your oven is preheating to 170 degrees C. Now, I'm just gonna divide. You need 8-inch baking tins. And I'm just gonna divide, and they need to be at least, I think this is 4 centimeters high. But if yours is a little bit thinner, you can get grease-proof as a wall. You know what I'm talking about. So trim it, stick it on the side, and then it could be as high as you want, the grease-proof. But yeah, you want baking tins about yay high. And we're just gonna divide our mixture as evenly as we can. Just gonna put 2 scoops per one. Gonna gently spread this just to make it as even as I can. So as an extra little trick, we're gonna put in these insulating cake thingies. Jess is doing it because I have no idea what I'm doing. But yeah, it's basically gonna act as like a buffer. See, the problem with traditional cake is that the tin gets hot, which basically seals the rim of the cake, and then the middle rises through the top because the sides have already set. This is gonna help prevent that, so basically reduce the heat on the edge, and then we should, in theory, get a more even rise all the way across. We're gonna put our cakes in the oven. They're gonna be about 26 minutes. Now note, you want the spacing between your cakes to be perfectly even so the airflow can get everywhere. So I'm just gonna leave them just like that, and then set a time for 26 minutes, about 26 minutes. I'm just gonna quickly check this. Yep, it's all perfectly done. I'm just gonna take them out and leave them to cool in the tins till they're completely cool. So I'm just gonna gently
Sew through the cake.
sew through the top of the cake just to get rid of that crusty layer, you know?
I'll eat the crusty layer. That's taken a lot off, hasn't it?
It has. It's because they're not the same height.
You can make cake pops with these guys.
That's right.
Is that what we're gonna do?
Sure. So now we're gonna make our buttercream frosting. It's gonna be a colada. Which one's Pina? Pina is the pineapple. Colada is coconut, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a colada frosting. So it's gonna be mainly coconut. Now there's an option to make it a rum style frosting
You want alcohol?
if you want it more boozy. We're gonna use coconut cream, but you can just substitute the exact same amount for white rum if you prefer.
Or
So
if you wanted it mango, you could put mango in there.
sure. So now we're just gonna start with our eggs. We just want egg whites in here. So Yeah, notice I'm using my mixing bowl because we're gonna basically whip it up in the mixing bowl. But before we do, we need to bain-marie and dissolve all our sugars first. So I'm just saving a bit of washing up, doing it directly into here. You can save the yolks for something else. Cure it as Jess is gonna do.
I'm gonna cure them, so please don't.
Cure it, make some custard, whatever you want. But yes, if you're comfortable doing it directly into the mixing bowl, feel free to use a separate bowl to separate your eggs. And then add 450 grams of caster sugar. And then stir that till it dissolves. We'll know it's ready when it gets thin. So when you get a thinnish liquid, you can feel it with your fingers. If there's no gristly bits in there, the sugar's all dissolved, you're good to go. Balloon whisk attachment, and we're just gonna whisk this till we get a nice soft meringue texture. We've got our beautiful, silky meringue style texture. I'll lower this and show you. You can see how it grips. I'm gonna add butter. Now I've got here, you should have unsalted butter, but I've run out, so I've got a little bit of a mixture. Use unsalted butter. You want about 600 grams of unsalted butter, and ideally you want a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, but because I've got some salted butter here, I'm just gonna omit the salt. So if you're using salted butter, omit the salt, and if you're not using salted butter, so you're using unsalted, then go ahead and add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Little bits, about this much, drop them in, and then carry on whisking. And we'll add the next chunk. Bit going in. It was a bit awkward. The opening to this mixer is not generous, but we live. So at this point, if you are adding salt, now will be a good time to sprinkle it in there. So once we're happy with that, I'm just gonna leave it on a low speed, and then I'm gonna add our coconut cream. We want 8 to 10 tablespoons worth, and yes, it's gonna slosh around once it's in there. If you're using alcohol, now will be the time you add your white rum. So after the sloshing around, you can take it off and then use your spatula to just incorporate it. And that's all you need, man. See, that's all finished. And we have our beautiful Swiss meringue with hopefully a nice coconut flavor going through it, or rum if that's your kind of thing. So we've trimmed all the crust off the cake. You don't have to trim the sides, they're quite soft. I've put a bit of buttercream on there on our spinning what do you call it, spinning cake stand, turntable. I'm just gonna place the base of our cake right on there in the middle. So now we're gonna assemble. First thing we're gonna do is do you remember the syrup we made? We're just gonna drizzle a bit on there just to soak into the sponge. Then I'm gonna grab myself a brush, and then I'm gonna make sure I get most of the cake, as much of the cake as you possibly can. Oh yeah. You're happy with that? Grab yourself a spatula, put some of your buttercream on there. We want a nice layer, and then we're just gonna spread that out on the top. I'm gonna make a little bit of a well in the middle, and that's where we're gonna have our jam that we made as well. And then we're just gonna spread that as well. Then we're gonna lay our first cake layer on top. We're building, make sure it's as even as you possibly can get it. Yeah. Repeat. I've got it upside down because the base is a lot flatter and a lot less crumbly.
Oh my god, it's like the cake's got dandruff. But it's tasty dandruff.
So just layer that on top. Make sure it's straight. We're gonna do something called the base coat or the crumb coat. And the idea here is we want to trap all these loose crumbs into a layer, set that before we start the actual icing. So I'm just going to put a dollop on the top. Ideally, you want a straight palette knife to do the sides, but unfortunately, I don't have one. I know, right? So I'm just going to use...
You're going to buy one next.
Maybe next time. I'm just going to use what we've got, which is the angled palette knife. So always start away from you and turn like so. Yeah, it's going to take a lot longer with the small curved palette knife. In all our crumbs, this is just a crumb coat. We're going to set this in the fridge and then we'll come back and we'll start the actual icing. So we've had this set in the fridge and now we're going to do the last final steps. Grab yourself a piping bag and we're just going to pipe. Ooh, if I can grab the buttercream, get that in there. Yeah, the reason we use a cup is it makes it a lot easier to get your icing in there. So we'll put as much as we can in there and then we'll just unravel. If you guys want to know how to do that easier, just leave a comment and I will do a video on that. It's gonna help us get a nice even layer on our cake. So just get your piping bag, get your buttercream in there, and then apply nice even pressure all the way across. A very rough layer. Grab your palette knife and then gently start scraping. Use the turntable to assist you. Apply gentle pressure. Any excess can go straight back into the mixing bowl. So once you're happy with that layer, we're just going to grab a dollop straight on the top. And then we're going to grab our palette knife, smooth it out, and then hold it at an angle and then turn your table. Apply gentle pressure and keep turning till it's even on the top. Now we're gonna grab our cake scraper, it's a smoother, and then we're gonna apply gentle pressure on here and then start smoothing it out. So once you've got all the sides as good as you want it, you see the sides are a bit raised on the top. So just go around and scrape it towards the middle, like so. So grab yourself a piping bag with this nozzle. The bigger you have of this, the better. I only have the small one. This is like a teardrop. I only have the little one, so I'm just gonna make do with what we've got. And you just wanna pipe just little designs. As you can imagine, if you have a bigger one, it's just gonna look a lot better.
Want me to turn the table?
It's okay. So what we're doing here is we're making mini fields for our butterfly to sit on. As earlier, I meant flowers. So now we can just sit these right on top. Just find random spots for them. As long as they're wedged in, they should be okay. Let's see. Thinking of how we're gonna slice the cake.
It don't matter, you can take them off.
You'll have to take them off. And then we'll put you on here as well. And now, our roasted, toasted coconut flakes. Well, they're desiccated coconut. If you want to see how I made this, I'll leave a link in the description. No, I'll leave a link right here on the screen. 2-minute video maximum, a few seconds actually.
This is nice.
Just showing you how I did this. Yeah, basically it's a bit of sugar. We made a bit of a syrup, soaked it in there, and then we baked it in the oven. I'm just gonna sprinkle this. Yes, it's gonna make a mess, don't worry.
Oh.
Make sure your table is clean so you can just pick that right off the table. You're gently pressing this in as you go along. Yeah, you want this about 1/4 of the way up, no more. So at this point, you want to scrape off all the excess from the sides. Go back and fill in any sort of spots that I can see with my eyes. So you're happy with your base coat. We're now gonna do a gradient. And to do that, we're just gonna grab a handful and we're just gonna start tossing them.
Oh, more mess.
And have it stick to create that gradient that we're looking for.
See, the other one was fine, but now this is going all over the floor.
And we're gonna do one final cleanup. Carefully remove any excess from your cake board. And there we have it, guys. What do you think? That is my pina colada cake without any rum. But you can add rum if you want. It is better without.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right.
Oh, that looks really good.
Ooh.
Have no shame.
So there you have it. Beautifully layered
Hold it up with
pina colada.
There we go.
And showing this side.
Like your prize.
Yeah, I'm actually quite happy with this, guys. So yeah, thank you for watching. Any comments, please leave them down below. We would love to hear your thoughts. And we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.